Hello, my name is Steve Linneman. I'm the culinary director for Terrain Cafe.
I'm Cherniavsky. I am the beverage manager at the Love restaurant in Philadelphia.
So all of the cheeses that we're going to taste today are from Dough Run Farms. We work really closely with Dough Run. Sam and Stacey, the cheesemakers, do an amazing job. And I'm pretty friendly with the chef at Dough Run Farms, Greg, so I spend a lot of time actually at the farm cooking and tasting cheese and spending time over there. So the first cheese we're going to taste is actually their signature cheese. It's Seven Sisters. Cow's milk cheese, style of a young Gouda. It's aged in stone caves for about 7 or 8 months. Kind of a sweet, buttery flavor, light acidity, a little herbaceous notes. Really good.
So with this cheese, which I have a little bit of here, we are pairing Maple Springs Albarino, which is one of my favorite wines in Pennsylvania. It's a wine that we carry in the restaurant. It is a wine that is from a fairly new vineyard. They've been making wine they've been growing grapes since 2008, making wine from a little bit after that once the grapevines were ready. This is the 2018 Albarino, which was named one of the top 11 wines in the state at the Pennsylvania Sommelier Judgment Day event last year for the 2019 event. Previously, it's won Best White Wine in State, I think for the 2017 vintage. So this wine is really wonderful with cheese. It has a great kind of peach note to it, which is really characteristic of Albarino, and has lots and lots of acidity to kind of play well with the creaminess and the sweetness of this cheese.
Moving to our next cheese, it's actually my favorite from Dough Run Farms. It's the St. Malachi. Also cow's milk cheese and Gouda in style. This one has like a really cool like nuttiness, like roasted nuts and like caramel flavors, and definitely more acidic.
So St. Malachi is a cheese that we work a lot with in the restaurant at the Love. So it's a cheese I spend a lot of time with and a lot of time snacking on. So I was excited that we were including it in this pairing. With that, I'm pairing Galen Glen Fossil Vineyard Riesling, which was named Best Wine in the State at that PA Sommelier Judgment Day event last year, which is really, really exciting. Galen Glen has been making wine since the early 2000s. They're the 6th and 7th generation of the family making wine on that, farming on that property. This is the first and second generation making wine on the property. And they have this really beautiful piece of land in Andreas, Pennsylvania, in the Lehigh Valley. And this wine is one of the most spectacular wines that you'll find in the state right now. A little bit off dry, and I think with something like St. Malachi, which has that kind of sweetness to it, this is going to be a really wonderful pairing. Yeah, there's so much acidity in the wine. I think that it really cuts through so much of that sweetness in the actual cheese, which I think is a really wonderful thing to think about when pairing wine and cheese.
And our last cheese is a tome style cheese, also cow's milk. It's called their Blowhorn, and this is really, really different from the other two. Really amazing minerality to it, really earthy, really creaminess that really stays with you. Kind of a salty feel that I get from it in a really good way. It's delicious, really beautiful cheese as well, if you can see it on the camera, but it's delicious.
So this cheese is really, has a lot of pop to it, which is really fun. And I thought that it was important to include a red wine in the tasting because red wine and cheese I think is really, really wonderful. This is from Chad's Ford Winery. They are in Chad's Ford, Pennsylvania, oddly enough. They're in Chester County, which actually isn't too far from Dough Run. So if you were going to visit Dough Run when there are places to visit, you could also pop into the winery, which would be a really cool kind of day trip to take. They have been making wine since 1982. So they are definitely the oldest of the 3 wineries that we're talking about today. This is their 2017 Cabernet Franc, which is a wine that, again, placed in the top 11 in the state in that Sommelier Judgment Day event. And it's a wine that I think is really, really cool. It's not too heavy. It's not too dark in color, and is a really kind of fruity, wonderful wine, especially with a little bit of a chill to it, to pair with cheeses. Especially something as kind of funky and weird as this cheese is.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much kind of cherry red fruit in this wine. I think that's a really wonderful kind of thing to pair with the cheese. So if you want to taste wine and cheese at home, until we can welcome you back into the Love and into Terrain and into all of the other wonderful restaurants and bars in the state, there's lots and lots of things that you can do. All of the wines that I showed today are available for shipping in the state of Pennsylvania, which is really great. There are also over 100 wineries in the state that are shipping to you. So it's really, really easy to get local wine to use for this cheese and wine pairing experiment that you'll be doing at home. But I think that it's really kind of a wonderful and varied thing to be able to pair cheese and wine. So something simple and light like a fresh goat cheese would be really wonderful with either fresh sparkling wine or something like Grüner Veltliner, which is a grape that grows really, really well here in Pennsylvania. If you have something with a little more depth, I mean, we already talked about something in a Gouda style with St. Malachi. So you already know that Riesling is a wonderful pairing with that. And I think that reds really do go well with kind of some of these funkier cheeses. So I think that something like Cabernet Franc or Chambourcin or even Merlot, if you can find a really wonderful Merlot. Merlot is one of my favorite grapes from Pennsylvania. I think all of those could be really wonderful pairings. And something to think about when you're pairing wine and cheese, I think that sometimes people don't remember about all of the wonderful dessert wines that we have here in Pennsylvania. We make a lot of really wonderful off-dry and sweet wines. Some of them are kind of simple Concord grape wines, which with the right cheese is kind of a really fun pairing. You get something with kind of a lot of nuttiness to it, and I think that would be a fun pairing. But there's also a lot of sweeter style Rieslings and sweeter red wines, which with something with a little bit of funkiness to it, or even like a really longer aged cheddar style cheese, I think would be a really fun pairing. So there's lots to play with.
Yeah, and looking up Doe Run or any of the Pennsylvania cheesemakers right now, a lot of people are doing a lot of shipping, and I think as far as pairings, everything sounds great. And I think the best part really is just experimenting. Buy a lot of cheese, buy a lot of wine, open them up and have fun. So.